Welcome back to Getting Some Head. I'm Michael fucking Rainey here with my friend Chip Chantry. Chip, how the heck are you?
Good. I'm busy. I just dropped my dog off at bartending school. And
how's he doing?
It's like running around. It's tough for him, but he's learning. He's learning.
Eventually they'll probably make a movie about him. You know what it's called?
What was that?
Barktail.
I think that's what it's going to be. Yeah.
Or Cocktail with the emphasis on tail.
Yeah. He's going to be pouring some IP outsides. No, I'm good, man. And I'm good. It's bittersweet to be here. You know, you're
the family's
out,
dead.
but what's that?
The family's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It smelled weird in here.
Yeah, it just makes things easier on me to move just alone.
Right, and then it's like them and the stuff don't have to go.
Yeah,
you know, it's like you can leave their bed and all their affects.
Yeah, it's just it's a win-win for me.
Yeah, I love it.
So, Chip, I brought you here tonight not to help me move my family's corpses.
Okay.
But I want to learn more about you.
All right.
We've been friends for a long time, and I do know a lot about you, but at the same time, there are some very specific things that I would like to learn about you that I don't quite know about yet.
Okay. Yeah, and we started a comedy basically together. I think you started like just a couple, maybe even like weeks after me. Like we started right at the same time.
Yeah, and I remember the first funny thing that I heard you say. We were waiting for an open mic to start at St. George's.
Okay.
And you were telling our friend Pat Kelly, he was talking about how he was going to start promoting the open mic, and he was all these different ways that he was going to advertise the newspaper, a city paper, and he said, if you're interested, I have a friend that does skywriting. And Pat goes, really? He said, no.
Yeah, that sounds like me. Well, I think I've already told you this before, but like I started in stand-up, and my little brother, who you've met many times, he would always ask me, like, how did it go? How'd your jokes go? How did this joke go? Whatever. Yeah. And then I started telling him about you when you started showing up. He never met you yet, but all of a sudden, like, he stopped asking about me. He's like, how'd Mike Rainey do tonight? And he's like, how did this joke go? So he's a big fan. Yeah.
I really liked hanging out at his planetarium.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was really sweet. I found a couch in the back of the room, so I took a little snoozini there.
Yeah. Oh, you can fall asleep like real easy, like because we used to go as chaperones because it's at the middle school, and we'd take the kids up, and you would. It's very easy to fall asleep in that room.
Yeah. I fell asleep. I didn't wake up until the next day, and school was in session. Yeah. So I just went through a regular school day because I felt awkward just leaving right then. And
like
all the classes,
like Drew Barrymore had never been kissed.
Yeah.
And then you wrote a story about it. Yeah.
You know, we like a book.
I don't think that happens anymore. Like I think Cameron Crowe posed as a high school student when he was writing Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
That's nuts.
For a while, I think. And like that would be frowned upon at best anymore. I feel it. You know what I mean?
Although that would be a good way to explain why you're hanging out in a high school, even if you're not preparing for a movie.
Yeah. There was a kid who went to my high school. Like he showed up halfway through the year, and then like I don't know if he ever came back. He was like a year or two ahead of me, and he this was early '90s, Mike. You remember the high school days? And he looked like. Kind of like one of the new kids on the block, kind of like he just had that
that's cool.
He just had his weird look about him, but he just looked like older, and it was just very weird. And he was just aware, and finally this one real white trash dude just started screaming at him in the cafeteria one day, and was just like, "You fucking narc! You're a narc, and you're a cop, and we all know it." And ran out. And the guy's like, "I don't know what to do." And to this day, I don't know if that was the case or not. Maybe he was an undercover cop. Like if they were 21 Jump Street in us. I don't know.
Would you do that if you were asked?
Yeah, I would only do elementary school though. I think I could fit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wear little shorts.
You have a sweetness about you that I think could pass for elementary.
I'd probably shave the beard, or at least put some cover up over top of the beard, and I'd learn my times tables again. It'd be great.
3 times 3.
9.
Yes.
See?
All right. Yeah.
See? Yeah. What if I won the spelling bee or whatever, and then it was contested because I was a narc, and I was busting children for drugs. But kids shouldn't be doing drugs at that age.
I know. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's you should not be in school, but they should not be doing drugs. And I put them not doing drugs above you being in the school. So
100%. Yeah.
Chip, were you allowed to eat whatever you wanted as a kid?
No. My parents were pretty. There was guardrails in my house, but they were fairly wide. We weren't forced to eat a whole lot of healthy stuff, but it's always you can't have the worst stuff in the world. We could have the second worst. Do you know what I mean? We could pretty much eat any cereal was if I had to any food for the rest of my life. It would probably just, if I had the choice of any cereal, like if I could just eat cereal for the rest of my life, that's all I would do. And I love it. And so we could always have like sugary cereal, but my mom would be like, you're not getting Lucky Charms. Like that's beyond the pale.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so there were like certain things that are like, no, not that, but pretty much anything else we were got. And like my problem was with that is I was a skinny kid. Like my dad was always super skinny. Like my dad actually had his thyroid out when I was in like second grade. He like, cause he was literally, my dad was like 6'4", 160 pounds.
Was it to make it easier to suck his own dick?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, it's just, and he had a couple ribs, and then the shame goes away after that, because the thyroid is it's the shame gland.
Got ya.
So it takes it out. So yeah, he was super skinny. I could just eat whatever. Like were you like that at all, or
No.
Because you had a little girth on you.
I was a little porker, man. Yeah, I was a little what did they call it?
Husky.
Husky. Yeah, I was thinking Porky, but that fits too.
Husky was my dog's name growing up, by the way. Yeah.
There was a moment that I thought of, like as I wrote this question, thinking back to like just how poor like my diet was and was allowed to be as a child. But I remember a barbecue we had where there was like a plate of leftover hot dogs. There was probably like 8 hot dogs left on this plate.
Yeah.
And I just wanted them. So I opened the fridge and I sat on the step of the fridge with the door like against my shoulder, just eating hot dogs one by one until eventually I ate all 8 fucking hot dogs.
What a sweet little
and
boy.
Nobody said anything to me.
Could you see like your shadow from the light of the refrigerator just slowly getting bigger?
If I was focused on that, yes, but I was just focused on my mouth pleasure.
Yeah.
And a burned hot dog really does it for me.
That burnt hot dog is nice. I will say that my dad, my dad would always go to bed really early because he worked at grocery stores, and like for a long time he delivered bread, so he'd be up at like 3 a.m, whatever. So he would like lay in bed at night and literally eat like a pound bag of Hershey's Kisses.
Yeah.
And he could just do it, and he just never put on weight until he got like later in life. And so like my parents were like pretty like, because I would do whatever. I was pretty active, but like I was just skinny no matter what I did. I couldn't put on weight. And then you hit like 30, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, these habits are not good for me, because then I put on like 40 pounds overnight, and I got big, and I've gotten down a little bit. And like my wife she grew up like super healthy eating, and like I've tried to get back in that, but it's like I got I've never had like real problem with like drugs or alcohol like too much. I've had my fun, but like sweets is like, it sounds silly, but it's like I was at a show the other night where there was like a spread backstage, like it was for the comedy festival, and there was just a big box of donuts, and like throughout the course of the 2 shows back to back, I had 5 donuts.
I would think about it nonstop.
That's all I thought about, and they were just like like Entenmann's or whatever, like the there's the powdered and I couldn't stop myself from eating. And like I knew, like I'm trying to lose weight right now. I'm trying to stay in shape, and I was like not eating anything tonight. And then I had 5, and I couldn't get away from it.
I'm thinking back, like you did hit a little like chubby phase, but I'm 100% honest when I say this. But I think you're at your sexual peak right now.
Thank you, buddy.
You look great, and you're in great shape.
Thank you.
And I know you watch what you eat, but just know it's paying off.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to get better. Like I want to keep doing it, but it was because like I saw myself like, and you don't realize it too. Like that's the thing too. Like, you all of a sudden see yourself in a picture, and you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, somebody takes a picture of you like on stage from like, shooting up.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh,
I will set this place on fire next time I'm there.
You don't have to, I'm sure you were probably on this. It was at the Khyber. We, when I do like Chip Chantry's one-man show, and we would do roasts. Like, I think we did the Kent Haynes roast, maybe the Doogie Horner roast or whatever. And like everybody it was right when Aaron Herzog lost all that weight. And like people were making fun of me for my weight. And it was like, somebody was like, oh, Aaron lost all that weight and Chip found it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it hurt my feelings, but it was like, that's a good note.
Dude,
that is a good note.
I think it was the same roast. You said, I've gained a lot of weight. And you said, years ago, I used to look like Orlando Bloom. Now I look like Orlando International.
I still remember two of my favorite road jokes I ever wrote were, and it makes sense if you know the people, but Kent Haynes, always like, hipster, like whatever, like me, and he's like, but like he always wore like tight shirts, like he was like little, hipster shirt, t-shirts, vintage shirts. And I said, Kent, your shirts are like child psychics. They're youth mediums. That was, and then I remember the one, do you remember Don Montre great guy. He used to run. He
died
before I did
very
that.
nice guy.
And a sketch guy, and he was a couple years older than us, maybe like not a lot, but like he always looked a little older. He had the beard and all. And he wasn't in the comedy scene as much, but we were doing. I think it was the Paul Trigg roast or the Megan Robert or something like that. And he was on the dais, and like he'd married and kids, wasn't doing much comedy at that point. And I was like, Don, I was like, we used to see you a lot. You're around. You're a little bit older than us, but we don't really come around anymore. You're kind of like our estranged father. And I was like, actually, no, wait, you're more like our estranged father's partner, Rick. And that was my favorite line. But but like it's a roast is like roasts I think everybody should go through that process because you learn a lot about yourself. Like I was like, oh, I'm all right. I've packed on the pounds that I didn't realize.
You're a little fat boy, man.
Yeah. And then I was like, all right, I gotta bring this back down because I was like 30 or so pounds, like higher than I am now. So it's like still trying to get, I'm that like. See, I think Joe DeRosa used to have that joke, but it's like I'm that skinny fat too.
Yeah.
Where like I don't look like I remember one buddy who's like he's like kind of a big Italian guy, and he's always big, but he just looks good, And it's like I don't. My British Irish frame just does not hold it well.
No, I mean I would tell you if it was to the contrary, but you look fine.
Do you want me to?
Yes, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah,
a little bit more.
Yeah,
it's just a little more honest.
Take your pants off, put your feet behind your head.
I remember I saw pictures of you because you got bigger, and then like you're just like you're like stacked now, man. You're like
thanks,
you look
buddy.
Great. Yeah.
There was a point where it was on your show. I was doing story time with Michael Rainey.
Story time with Michael Rainey, where you had you would wear like a turtleneck.
Yeah, and I would button these green pants up, and I had gotten so fat. I think I was at my fattest, which was 250.
Yeah.
And I would button these pants. And I would genuinely be worried that like my pants were going to burst open.
Yeah.
Because they were so fucking tight.
Yeah. You on my last one man show where you would do it was so funny. You would do story time with Michael Rainey where we would put like a video of a fireplace and you would just sit there and I'm trying to think what you would. It was always just so funny, but I think did you tell real life stories or like
most of the time, yeah.
And they were just hilarious.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
But then you did like a tribute to me on the last one, and this goes back to. Do you remember when we you crashed at my house that weekend with Pat House?
That was great.
Storm.
I had so much fun.
And you made fun of me because I was eating sherbet in the morning. I mean, I'm a grown man eating sherbet in the morning. And you got me sherbet. And do you remember this?
Yeah.
Like for the last thing. And you were like, you were just like, you're saying all these nice things about me. And then you took out the ice cream. And you're like, I was sitting next to you. And you're like, Chip, you were my rock during 9/11. Here comes the airplane, and like just lost it, and the crowd is just dead. And then you just waited a beat, and you're like, and the second one, like it was just maybe the hardest I've ever laughed.
Thanks, man. Well, I had fun feeding you. I mean, that was
I had fun.
Just
being
an
fed.
excuse.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Do you remember the first bad word that you used?
That was like a one weird thing that my parents were like. Again, they were like not super, like. What's the word? Like controlling or super, their helicopter parents or whatever, But like there were certain, like we didn't curse. Like that was a thing where my parents let my brother and I pretty much watch any R-rated movie. Like
I love that shit, man.
Like they would send us out. Like we would go to like church every Sunday or like Sunday school every Sunday, stuff like that. But like we weren't super religious. But we were like, and they tried, and we were fairly, I guess, sheltered, But like. We could, especially with comedy, like they were always cool with comedy. It's like R-rated or whatever. Like unless there was like a graphic sex scene, they would like send us out of the room or whatever. But like other than that, like we could pretty much watch anything. But the one caveat was if we said any of those bad words, like I loved how it was like sex violence, like all the drug use or whatever. But like it's the cursing that you're not allowed to do, And if we used any of those curse words, they wouldn't let us watch those movies anymore. So like I didn't curse like at all, like until I got to college. And I remember coming back from college and just like had a filthy mouth on me, but I remember the first word I said. I remember it was like my 13th birthday. We had like a picnic in the backyard. It was a birthday party, and we were playing volleyball, and I like missed a shot, and I was like, damn it. And my dad was just like, I remember my dad he was playing next to me. He's like, shocked. He's like, what'd you say? Like he laughed, but he was like shocked that like his 13-year-old son would say, damn it. And he like, I didn't get in trouble or anything, but he was just, I remember it was just like weird, I was like, yeah. So I think damn it was the first one.
I would, if I had to bet what curse would have came out of your mouth first. You're such a sweet guy.
Yeah.
And even now, I don't hear you curse a lot.
Yeah.
Occasionally you'll use one.
Yeah.
But Yeah, by and large, I don't hear you curse a lot, and I think that adds a little punch to when you do get nasty.
Oh yeah, because it comes out and it's like I can get bad. I remember one time I was like 6 years old, and his like best friend who was like 2-3 years older than me, and he was just like being a dickhead to me, and I yelled at him. I called. I was like, and he's like, yeah, well, I'm not. You know, it's like one of those like friend breakup things we're gonna have like 5 times over the summer, and he's just like, you're whatever, you're stupid or whatever, and I was just like, you're an idiotic jerk. That's what I said to him, and I didn't sleep that night. I'm 6 because I thought he was going to tell his mom, and his mom was going to tell my mom that I called him an idiotic jerk. And I was beside, we didn't like, that wasn't like really off the table, but like that was something I was so afraid of it. I was afraid of everything growing up. Were you afraid of everything growing up? Right?
I still am.
Yeah.
But there was a point too in my friendship with my buddy Kenny. I'm sure it wasn't the first curse that I used, but it was the most memorable one just because it caught me by surprise, and I didn't know what it meant, but I knew that it was bad.
Yeah.
Remember there's a part from The Exorcist where Reagan says, your mother sucks cocks in hell?
Yeah.
I was arguing with my friend Kenny because I called him out on lying, and I was yelling at him from my porch. I was inside and he was outside.
Yeah.
And Kenny was another kid who was allowed to watch whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
And we were just doing, kid insults back and forth. And at one point he says, your mother sucks cocks in hell. We were like 8.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it meant, and
Sure.
I said it back to him, and then I asked my mom, she's like, what are you talking about? And then later, like after I saw The Exorcist, I was like, oh, that's what he got that from.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're being cultured at least.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah. And I really love going to Kenny's. Like his parents, they would edit shit out of movies, which was odd that they would let that slip. That must have been one that they didn't. It might have just been sex that they edited out.
Like they physically edited it out?
Dude, it was nuts because they had walls of just movies that they had all the channels.
Yeah.
And they would just record everything that came on. And just in their house there were these homemade shelves of just VHS tapes of just every movie that you could think of, every sporting event. And I think it was just the sex that they edited out. But I cannot imagine the amount of time that took to go through all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, and just with the technology then, like, that's not just, like, going online.
Dude, it was mid-'80s.
Yeah. Like, their dad's, like, down there in a video laboratory just, like, doing his thing, you know?
Yeah, he was a lunatic, so that checks out, man.
Yeah.
Chip, do you have, can you tell me what your favorite musician is?
Probably my favorite band of all time is, I mean, I love the Beach Boys, and it's like we just lost Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
Like that's what I grew up on. Like that's my parents, like my dad's favorite band, and I think I told you I got my parents to meet the Beach Boys a couple years ago.
I couldn't imagine how cool that is.
Yeah, it was like that was a big moment, like because I was opening for Saget a lot, and he's like friends with the Beach. It wasn't Brian Wilson. Brian wasn't with the rest of the guys, but like they were at the Borgata, and like I got to introduce my parents to the Beach Boys, and that was like the moment where, because I was thinking about leaving teaching and doing that, and that was the moment where like, all right, like because they were, again, I was an adult, but like they weren't excited about me leaving my job with my benefits and my, I had a teaching job, but like that was the night where they're like, oh, you got us to meet the Beach Boys. I guess you're doing something right.
Yeah, I think it's so hard for parents to put in the context, like the reality of what. I guess like comedy is.
Yeah.
Where like a lot of times it's very sad.
Yeah.
And anytime you get a win, it's fucking massive. So it's good that they were able to recognize how big of a deal that was.
Yeah. As
you did too.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'd say probably like I love Pavement, the Pixies, LCD Sound System are like my big 3. Like just like anything like indie kind of shitty, snotty rock from the 90s. Like that was like my thing.
Are you the same with movies like indie?
Yeah. Wes Anderson. We watched a bunch of Wes Anderson movies together. Yeah, like Wes Anderson is always my favorite. Jaws is my favorite. Like that's my favorite movie of all time, like hands down. And then, but yeah, like I always like, and like I think my favorite Pavement's probably like my favorite band. Like I don't know if you know like much about them.
I'm aware of them,
like,
but I don't.
They're great.
Them.
They actually have so they kind of had this resurgence recently. They got back together, and they have a documentary out about them called Pavements, and it's like a biopic / like documentary, but like. Half the shit's fake. Like they just made shit up, and like because that's their vibe. Because like they were like a great band, they're a lot of fun, like really good musicians, but like they never lived in the same city as each other, and they never really practiced, and they were just like real slacker. Like I don't give a fuck. Like and he was like so every like their shows were always like sloppy, but like beautiful sloppy, that kind of thing. And like that was always my, for better or worse, that was always my vibe of like I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like I could try harder, but like I think that's. that's a Gen X thing too, that I think as I get older and like in my career, I'm like, oh, maybe it's not as cool to not give a fuck as, because I'm like, or, you know, I think you have the same thing too, where it's like, I think our confidence levels are like, all right, we talked about this for years, where it's like, maybe we're not good enough yet, or like, you know, we just want to do it for the art, and like the people will find us and keep our heads down and like just keep doing what we're doing. We think we're good, but like maybe and like I was always like, oh, whenever I smelled effort on somebody, like, oh, you're trying to get in front of like the right people, or you're trying to really put yourself out on social media, or like, oh, you're trying to get followers, or trying to chase fame, and it's like, fuck that. And now I'm looking, I'm like, that's what you have to do now. That's what you have to do. And so now, like, I'm a little less, like, I've grown, and I feel like I'm a little less, like, worried about, like, what people think. Like, yeah, I'm going to put myself out there as much because I'm confident in my comedy, what I do. Why shouldn't I be chasing this?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's, but that was always, like, my vibe of, like, oh, like, you could, like, one of my brother and my nephew, like, their favorite band is, like, Tool. Which, like, Tool's amazing. Like, and I'm not like a super huge fan, but like every time I listen to Tool, they're like obviously undeniably great, but it's like, that's a lot of fucking effort. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just gonna listen to my shitty, like, snotty 90s, you know, pricks that like were just like whatever, and like, yeah, and like that's always been my vibe.
Well, relative to that, I was telling somebody, a friend, we were talking about Tool, and I was mentioning how I went to see them. I think I only saw them once, but I was kind of bummed out because they're not running around the stage and jumping up and down and doing shit that other bands that I like fucking Korn and Kid Rock were doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And the person I was talking to explained to me, is like, yeah, like you have to understand like how complex a lot of the shit they're doing is.
Yeah. And
it's almost impossible to be fucking rocking out.
Yeah.
In a Korn-like way to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're I mean they're amazing. I never saw Tool, but I saw, it was probably around like 2000, 2001, something like that. I saw Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails, great. I saw him at like the Spectrum or whatever, you know, whatever it was called back then, the new place. And the new place, it's decades old, but we still call it the new place. But we went to see Nine Inch Nails, and the rumor was, they're like, oh, we heard that Maynard from Tool has this side project, and they're the opening act.
Oh, that'd be neat.
And it was a Perfect Circle.
Were they there?
Yeah. And it's the first time we saw a Perfect Circle, like never heard of them, never whatever. And Nine Inch Nails was great. But it was one of the only, and I've been to hundreds of concerts, it was one of the only concerts I've ever been to where the opener blew the headliner off the stage. Like, Perfect Circle was so fucking good. They were amazing. And then we actually got tickets because they came back to the Electric Factory a couple months later, and they were just as good. They were amazing.
Yeah, they were great. I think I got their first 2 albums.
Yeah, the one with like 3 Libras and Judith. That was
yeah.
great. And then I didn't really follow up after that, but yeah.
Yeah, they were terrific. And Nine Inch Nails, they just started a tour again.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I'm actually going to MSG to see my first ever show there.
Who are you seeing?
2 weeks. Goose. You know the band Goose? Mm-mm. They're actually in Tires this season. There's like
I remember they posted something recently about being in it. Yeah,
which is crazy because like I got really into them about a year ago. Carl and I went. Our friend Carl Bakuti, like I was like a big Fish kid, also like a '90s thing. Like I was way into Fish and whatever, and I kind of got out of it. But like they're like a jam band, but they're like more like mainstream, and like I think they're great. But like and then it's just like I love these guys. I'm going to see them in New York in 2 weeks, and then they were just on Tires, which is just that's wild.
Yeah. I mean, that's great for them, but do you think that'll be good for the Gander?
Oh, Mike, I gotta go. I forgot my. I left my bike unlocked. I don't want to mention names. I'm not going to mention. I'm going to try to be as vague as possible.
Chris Benoit.
Yes. Yeah. Happy Father's Day to everyone.
Yeah, Chris, if you're watching.
So, speaking of bike locks, I was at speaking of the old open mics, the Comedy Cabaret in the Northeast, and we were there on an off night, and it was like we were trying to write sketches or something like that. I don't know if you were there. I think it was like me, Dan Goodman, Eric Todd, and Kensel. And Kensel got a call, like this is like maybe even like pre-cell phone, or like, you know, we didn't cell phones, but he got a call at the bar from, you know, Mike the bartender, like, John, it's your call, you know, phone. And it was just somebody we knew, and somebody else they knew, without I'm being vague, but they're like, he got his bike stolen outside of like Arby's or Burger King, it was outside of like a grocery store, right? And he's like, he got his bike stolen out of that, and it's like you felt bad for the kid. I think you probably know who I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And so so he gets off the phone. He's relaying this. He's like, he got his bike stolen. This teenage kid, and and I said, John, did he have a bike lock? And John, without missing a beat, he just goes, oh, he had one of those really nice titanium bike locks, but he hooked it to a BK broiler.
Yeah, everything Gensel says is the funniest shit I've ever heard.
Like, we had to stop the meeting. Like, it was a writing session, and we were just done for the night. We couldn't focus for the rest of the night. He hooked it to a BK broiler. Yeah. It's my favorite. It might be the funniest thing I've ever heard. What's your favorite? Like, so you liked, like, band-wise?
I think Deftones is my favorite band.
Okay, they're another band who, like, I know that one song. Is it Changes?
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of the only one I know, but it's great. And then every time I've heard a song by the Deftones, I'm like, this is really good. And I just haven't taken the time to get more into it. But every time I listen to them, I'm like, these guys are great.
Yeah, they got a ton of great albums. Every album's good. They have a B-side album, which I think you would probably like a lot off of. Yeah, I've been trying to listen to a lot more because I feel like I get stuck in ruts where I'm listening to the same 10 people.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been on an Elvis kick.
Okay, yeah.
I just love the guy, man.
Yeah.
I had a weird experience with Elvis, not with him personally when I was a kid, but a girl that my sister hung around. My mom would take us over there so my sister could hang out with this kid. Her mom was like an Elvis fanatic, like Elvis shit all over the walls, music blasting all the times. And at one point, I was just sitting on the couch while her and my mom were dancing, and at one point she kissed my mom while Elvis was playing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but somehow I still like Elvis.
Yeah, I mean, hey, might as well. I remember my uncle was dating this woman from like down south, from like Arkansas or something, and like they came up for Thanksgiving one year, and they had this 8-year-old son. Like it was her son. He was just dating her, and his name, I forget. His name was Aaron, and he was named after Elvis's middle name because I think it's Elvis Aaron Presley.
Yeah.
And like we kind of like, oh, that's kind of funny and cute. Like we kind of not laughed at it, but we're just like, oh, that's what. And she was not happy. She was like, he's the king. Like it's like we made fun of the Pope. Like they were not happy with it at all.
Yeah, it seems like anybody I know who is into Elvis is extremely into him to a point where it's almost unsettling.
Yeah.
But he did it to you, man. I don't know that anybody was more talented, better looking, and just really just swept up that era.
Yeah.
Like he did.
I just saw a clip of Brian Wilson died, and he met Elvis once apparently, and they were in the same studio, but like Elvis was down the hall, and he came, he's like, hey Elvis, whatever, and he's like, hey, would you mind coming in and listening to the music that we're recording right now?
Elvis said that to Brian Wilson?
Brian Wilson said that to Elvis.
Okay.
And then he's like, yeah, sure. And he walks in, and Brian Wilson just goes, hiya, and like chopped at him because like Elvis knows his car. And Elvis like chopped back at him and was like, what's going on here? And he like stormed out, and he like left. And he's like, that's the only time I ever met Elvis.
Brian Wilson seemed like a very fun guy. I mean, aside from being like a genius, but there was an article that was going around the day that he died that really cracked me up, where he's talking about how he just saw Norbit and how funny it was.
Oh, yeah.
And then the follow-up question is, what is your favorite movie? And he goes, Norbit.
He was just kind of a blank slate, although he's like brilliant. My old boss on a TV show used to write. He came up like as a reporter for like Hard Copy and A Current Affair and all this, and he was in LA and like has crazy stories. You would love this. One time, I used to think I was going to get in trouble, like, because it was right out of my teaching job. And when I first started writing, it was with McKeever and like the found footage guys, and we had the best time. But like, I was so regimented and so scared of everything that like, if the boss walked in and we weren't like at our desks doing our thing, like I thought we were going to yell at. And one time we were talking about serial killers, like who our favorite serial killer was. And our boss comes walking in. I was like, oh, pretending. And my one other buddy like didn't care. He's like, what are you guys talking about? And my buddy's like, well, he's like, Harley, who's your favorite serial killer? And he goes, I can't tell you that. He's like, I can give him my top 5. And then just sits down. And he like interviewed Richard Ramirez. Whoa. And like a couple other but he interviewed Brian Wilson one time at his house. And apparently Brian Wilson had this house that was this like living room with like a big atrium. It was like rounded, and it was like these different like balconies, like inside, like, like lofts or whatever, like balconies, like the different floors. And he had like 2 pianos on like every loft, like every kind of indoor balcony, and like just kind of scattered throughout. And so like he comes down and does the interview for like 20 minutes, and he's just kind of doing his like Brian Wilson thing, and just kind of like looking ahead, but he gets a little interview. And he's like, okay, I gotta go now, and just walks up the stairs, and the publicist comes and sits down and starts talking to my boss, right? And for like a half hour, and he's like, Brian just walked up and he would just stop at a piano and just start fooling around with it and just play the most beautiful melody you've ever heard and that you've never heard before. And it's just like this beautiful thing. And then he would just like stop and just walk to the next one and play a completely different, just like beautiful melody. And then just like forget about it. And like this, apparently this just came in and out of him, and like probably never wrote anything with those. That would just like come out. And he's like, for a half hour, he did it with like 8 different pianos, and he would just play a different beautiful thing that he's never heard before.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I would.
Do you do that with jokes, Mike? You just like walk around the house?
No, I have tiny pianos hidden around the house.
Is that what you do? Okay, yeah.
So at some point, I might get up and go behind your couch while you talk.
If you know, I'll talk to the good people, and like if you just want to like just jingle on those, tickle those ivories, if you will. You know what I'm talking about. Do you play any instruments? Did you ever play any instruments?
No, I bought a guitar once, but I only went to lessons because I thought the guy was cool and I wanted him to like me.
Yeah. Did he?
I don't think so.
Nah.
Because I told him when I went into the store, he's like, what are you looking for? And I said, I want to play.
A dad. Yeah. You say dad. Father figure. Yes.
I said, I want to play Corn, and his eyes fluttered. And he's like, yeah, you could do that. Here, I'll show you how to do it with these.
That's rough.
It wasn't expensive. It was maybe $20 a lesson, and I would go for a half hour on Saturdays, and I wouldn't practice all week. I just wanted to hang out with this guy because I thought he was cool.
Yeah.
And he would be like, okay, let me see what you practiced all week, and I would not progress at all, week after week.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I checked myself to inpatient mental health services.
Sure.
For being depressed.
Yeah.
And I missed a lesson because of it. And I missed a lesson because of it, and I was so embarrassed. It's all I could think about while I was in there. I was like, I was profoundly depressed, but all I could think about was letting this guy Mike down. And when I got out, I wrote him a little letter explaining that I didn't come to my lesson because I was committed. And then in the middle of the night,
he should have written back, "You're not committed to music, apparently." You'll never be Jonathan Davis. Is that his name? I think it's his name, right?
And in the middle of the night, I went to this place, which is in Norwood, not far from here.
Yeah.
And I slid it through the door, and I never went back there again because I just didn't want him to think that I just ghosted him.
Yeah. That's, you know, he just opened that up, and just as he's reading it, the whole time he's just thinking, that's all. That's so good.
But I would like to try guitar again because I just always wanted to play it.
Yeah.
What did you play?
I played trumpet. I played piano lessons like when I was a little kid, and just like, and that's another thing that like you look back on your parents, like my parents are great and everything like that, but it's like I played for like 2 years when I was like 5 and 6 years old. I'm like, I'll be watching TV, you know, I don't want to be doing this, and like I really wish my mom would have like cracked the whip a little bit more. Like, no, you need to stick with this, and like it's like eating my vegetables and stuff like that. They were kind of cool with like just whatever, because you know, and it's like I think I would have been more regimented, you know, and it's like I had a friend, and like they were pretty, like it wasn't like we weren't running wild or anything like that, but like I remember I had a friend who we went down to a shore house, and my mom came down, like we were middle school, and it was like a couple of kids and like whatever, and even though they were on vacation, the mom still made her son, and he was like really smart and like good student and the whole thing, she still made him read for a half hour every day. Like at one point during the day, he had to sit down and read for a half hour. And I was almost like, I wish my mom, like, I was like, oh, I wish I had kind of that discipline, because I just don't have the
same.
discipline.
Yeah, I should probably do that with my son. Like my girls are older.
Yeah.
But I still got.
Do you want me to go yell at your son?
Yeah, go smack him with a book.
Fucking read now, Mikey. Sit the fuck down. Just bring me in. Like, just bring a stranger. I'm not a father. I don't have children. We're not having children. But like, I would, if anybody wants me to, I will come. I don't care what age they are. I will come to your house and scare your child out of like whatever they are doing. Like, are they saying bad words? Are they not eating right? Are they being disrespectful? I will come in as a strange man and scream at them. I won't touch them. There will be no physical abuse, but I will scream at them for as long or as many times as you want. We can work out a price, and I will come and scare your child into, like, I think that I remember one time, like I was 4 years old, and we were in this like old country store. It was me and my mom, my grandma, and I had gum in my mouth, and I was done with it. I'm 4, and there was no flavor. So I didn't think anybody was watching. I just spit it on the floor, like in the one aisle. And the old man who ran the store, like picked it up and like followed me. He goes, "Is this yours, young man?" And like screamed at me. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to litter now. I'm not going to do that anymore.
But you also hate old people.
Yeah, I always have. Everybody should. Yeah, they're scary.
Did you ever go back there and do it again?
I should as an adult. I hope. I mean, he's got to be long dead, but like maybe just to besmirch his family's name, like just spit it all out.
Go there and just check it out, because perhaps he's hanging by a thread. And what if he's just like sitting behind the counter? They're just trying to bring him to a place where he was happy.
Yeah.
And chew an entire pack of gum. And then when his caretakers aren't looking, put it in his mouth.
Put it in his mouth and just let him relive that.
Is this yours, old man?
Just get it, grab him by the throat and just say, throw him back. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I...
Give it a shot.
It would be... Do you ever have that? Like, I have so many, like, fights in my head. Like, of people, like, that I... Either like growing up or like that, like I think I'm gonna get in a fight with. There's this one dude that I can't stand, and it's like I'm actually working on a bit about it. I don't do the bit here, but it's like there's so much art made about like unrequited love. Like I love her, she doesn't love me back. But it's like there's a lot of unrequited hate that I have. Do you know what I mean? Like there's so many people I fucking hate that like I don't think they know that I hate them because I'm non-confrontational. But like I have these fake fights in my head like all the time with these people I can't stand.
Are you beating them up?
Yeah, no, we're fighting. We're doing that thing too. I use it to my ability. You know, David Goggins. You ever read like the David Goggins books where what's he call it? It's like stealing souls or eating souls or whatever. Where I do push-ups and like I think about. It's kind of like your story of the little boy. Yeah, you know that. But like I do that of like when I'm doing my push-ups to like motivate myself. I'm in a fight with somebody.
It's funny you bring that up because I'll try to do that when I work out, and I feel like it weakens me. Like as I'm doing it, I don't feel like it kicks. Another, gear of effort into me.
Yeah.
I just feel like weakened by it, so I got to stop thinking about it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll try to be nice. Maybe I'll just like be pushing it like, I'm going to buy you an ice cream cone. Just be really nice about it. You like sprinkles? Maybe we can share it. 2 straws.
And say this out loud too at the gym.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh my God.
Chip, what's your favorite movie?
Jaws. Hands down.
Oh, you mentioned that. My bad.
It's because it has everything.
We saw it together.
Yeah, we went to it was with Bryn Mawr.
Yeah,
like it was during the pandemic. It was like one of the first times I went out during the pandemic, and we saw it was like Q&A, and they did the whole thing. And to see it in the theater I've seen it like 2 or 3 times now in the theater, and it's amazing. And but like Jaws. My favorite thing about Jaws is besides
the dead kids,
the dead children, and it's like nobody gets blamed for it except for the shark. You know what I mean? It's like I'm just like beating a child on the side of the road. I'm like shark. I'm like New Hope, but it's one of those movies that you don't see anymore. It has every genre because it's like
perfect.
Is it a horror movie? I hate when people call it a horror. It's horror aspects. It's a thriller. It's a drama. It's action.
It's funny,
but it's funny. There are so many funny things about Jaws that
Jaws is one of my comfort movies.
Yeah.
And it has all those things, and I don't know that any other movie has all those same elements. And on top of that, too, it's fucking 50 years old, man.
Yeah, this year this year it's this year. Yeah, this year's 50.
Jaws is 50.
Yeah, and it's
got a gray goatee now.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of bad back, Yeah, still hangs out at those like old bars, and you're like, oh, that's kind of creepy. He's like talking to girls, hey, what do you do for a living? It's like, ugh, gross. Come on, Charles, knock it off. But yeah, it still holds up. It's timeless. I definitely want, like, I grew up going to Maine as a kid, and we still go, like, with family friends who live on the coast of Maine, and it was like literally cheaper than going to the Jersey Shore because we had a free place to stay.
Definitely, yeah.
So we would go up there, and I just love New England, and I've never been, but like I want to go to Martha's Vineyard sometime and just like,
oh yeah,
I think it's expensive and all, but like just go and like see the town where Jaws was made. One of my favorite things about Jaws was there's a book called The Jaws Log. It's great. It's a Carl Gottlieb who wrote the movie. He basically just like took a bunch of, he was like, it's his journal like during the making of it. And it was like such a fraught, I heard about like the shark always broke
chaos,
down.
Yeah.
It was chaos and it was amazing. But Murray Hamilton, the guy who played the mayor, apparently they would just go into town every night and just like drink with the locals. And like some of the locals love him, some of them are just like, fuck off. But they would just get wasted. And Murray Hamilton, I guess, could drink. And he was walking back to the hotel one night. He was so wasted, he got sprayed by a skunk and didn't realize it. And he just walked into the hotel and just passed out on the hotel lobby couch and just stinking like a skunk, and like woke up the next morning and he just like, I'm in the hotel lobby, I smell like a skunk, and he just went up, took a shower, and just went to work. Yeah.
Do you like the sequels?
Yeah, I hate the sequels so much.
Really?
I really hate the sequels. Jaws 3D I enjoy because it's its own thing and it's weird and it's goofy. Jaws 2 is like, to me, it's boring. There's some all right stuff, and then Jaws 4 is just a sin against God.
Was Jaws 4 with Michael Caine?
Yeah, Michael Caine and Mary Van Peebles, and like was down.
I always love that name.
Mary Van Peebles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like a. It sounds like something like
cereal.
A cereal. Like it sounds like a child on the Flintstones. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what. Yeah.
Yeah. Kyle Van Peebles shot up Bedrock Elementary.
Yeah. Yeah, but what's your favorite movie?
MacGruber, but Jaws is pretty close, man. I think as far as sentimentality, Jaws really has it. I've loved it for years, and then also there was when we got back from like this vacation from hell. I was finally able to just lay on my couch and relax, and part of like why I sunk into such a deep relaxation was because I had Jaws on.
It's the best, and I think we share another one, probably maybe in both of our top fives. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
the original. It's just one of the most beautiful movies,
dude.
Yeah,
I think so too, and I'm glad you brought that up. I just found going through all my shit to pack it up, the 40th anniversary disc that they put out for Texas Chainsaw, and there's a really great commentary on there.
Oh, really?
And
I hope it's not that annoying brother Franklin.
No, God, he's the worst.
He's like, this was my least favorite scene.
No, I love Texas Chainsaw. For the longest,
was that guy really in a wheelchair, do you think? Or was he just acting?
He should be.
Yeah.
No, I think he was just acting.
If not, we should find him and
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But for the longest time, I was afraid to go to Texas.
Yeah.
The idea of it genuinely scared me.
Yeah. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like 13, and it was up in Maine, and so the way it worked is like we stayed in this little cabin that was like right on the bay, right on the water, and then 100 yards up was like our friend's house, and so everybody was down like hanging out on the porch in the deck, like on the water, and they had Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was like, I want to watch it. So like I was up in there like upstairs watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre alone as a 13-year-old, and then I had to go downstairs and like just in the Maine wilderness, like I just ran those 100 yards back to the cabin where everybody else was.
Spooky.
And it was the scariest run I've ever had in my life. But it's just, man, I wish I had that jolt like now to this day. Like
I'll scare you.
Thanks, Mike.
I'll tell you what, you scare the kids and I'll scare you.
Okay. It would be like, tit for tat.
Chip, can you tell me the best and the worst financial advice you've ever gotten?
The best financial advice, I remember a guy came to our college. He was like, I was in this like athlete thing. I played tennis in college. I wasn't good, and we were like D3. We sucked, but like I played, and like we'd have this like dinner every year with like alumni would come back, and there was this older guy, and he's like, if I give you, he's like, let me give you, he's like, everybody tells you like shoot for the stars and do all this stuff, and he's like, but if I can tell you, so, he's like, I want to give you like a real piece of advice, and he's like, I forget the exact numbers, but he was like, when you get your first job right out of college, he's like, save $2,000 from that and put it and invest it like in a 401k or like whatever, and just forget about it and put it away. And then he's like, try to do that every year. And you put in $2,000 like every year for like what, and just like, he's like, in 30 years, it's just going to, with investments, it's just going to grow so much. So it was like, that was like very, and then the worst piece of financial advice I ever got, a bunch of people gave it to me. They're like, you should do stand up. Like, you're funny. You should try stand up comedy. And I did that.
Have you ever tried to quantify how much money you've lost over the years? Just paying to get places, driving.
Like, I think I've made it back like to a certain extent. Like, I wrote on a couple TV shows, so that like definitely helped. But there was this kid that I went to high school with and did a lot of drugs, whatever. It was always like just smoked weed. Like, it wasn't a big deal, but he was like kind of a dick, and he smoked a lot of weed, and then I think got into heroin and stuff like that after college. Moved out west or something like that, and he literally, the story I heard was, and I think it's true, a couple years after high school, he and like some of his buddies out there literally robbed a bank, like it's the 1920s, like robbed a bank to I guess pay for drugs or whatever, and got caught and like went to jail for robbing a bank for like 10 years or so, and like got out, and like I was like, fuck that guy, whatever. And then like I think I saw him on Facebook a number of years ago, and it was like, he's out, he's in rehab, he's got a family and kids, and he's got some job, and he's doing well. And he's like, I started comedy right around the time he robbed that bank. And I think he's doing better than I am right now. You know what I mean? It's like, who made the right choice? Who did it the right way? Yeah. But that's the thing I'm trying to change too. Like, it's that thing of like, I always was like, I'm an artist, and I'm not like an artist, but it was like, I'm not selling out. And it was like, I should have fucking sold out a long time ago.
100%, man.
You know what I
mean? My feeling now is I want to make a living to provide for my family.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I give a fuck about.
I want to make a living to provide for your family.
I will pull my ass cheeks apart.
Yeah.
To have my family live in a nice place.
Yeah.
That's all I give a fuck about now. Yeah. But I remember for the longest time thinking, I want to do what I want to do, and I don't care if nobody likes it. And I wouldn't get booked anywhere because my shit was so stupid and just so fucking obnoxious.
Yeah.
Because I was,
but it was so funny though. But but I get it. Like, yeah, it wasn't as like marketable.
It's for me. It's like, you know, audiences like,
you were always
not into it.
Maybe my favorite comic, Mike. You were always so, I'm not just saying this, like so brilliant and so funny. But then some of it wasn't like for like to do the Cherry Hill Comedy Cabaret might not, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it wasn't for that middle-aged whatever crowd, you know?
There was no definitive game plan, and it was just not only spinning tires, but actually going backwards.
Yeah.
And it's...
well, and even I was always, you know me, like I'm generally more like clean comic. Like that's always just the way I've written. And like I love dirty comedy. I especially love dirty comedy's all right. Dark comedy, like is my favorite thing. Like just the darker, the better is like my favorite thing. But like you know what I mean? Like I always write pretty clean or whatever. But like people used to tell me, they're like, oh, you're like a clean comic. We need a clean comic. I'm like, I'm not a clean comic. Like I ran away from that so much. I'm like, I'm not a fucking clean comic. Cause like you think like Christian comic or like, and it's like, I'm not doing that. You know, it's like, but they're like, oh, you're a clean comic. I'm like, I don't want to be known as that. And now, like, I want to be known as a clean comic, like to a certain extent, because it's like, oh, I can work more places and like get hired, like maybe like TV stuff or like whatever, because it's like, oh, he's a clean, like even, I just did that festival in Nebraska this weekend, and it was like, you had to be TV clean for 2 out of the 3 shows. And, it's literally Yakov Smirnoff was one of the headliners.
Did you get to meet him?
Yeah.
How was he?
He was great. He did a whole hour, but like he like seemed to like me, and it was like he's pretty clean, and like, you know, he was like, I think he's like torn or whatever, and it's like, you know, to get those opportunities, maybe that like James Austin Johnson from SNL was there, and it's like like to be able to do that, I'm like, oh yeah, I should have leaned into this, you know, more rather than trying to be like, no, I'm alt and I'm, you know, like, you know, weird, and I'm you know, I'm trying to be dirty or edgy or what. And it's like, I should have just leaned into it more about like, no, I can, you know, it's like, look at like Bargatze now. It's just like, and like, you don't even think of him as a clean comic. Him, Brian Regan, like all those guys are just like clean and like so funny. And it's like, they're making a lot of money. But then of course, like, you know, you can also be super dirty and make tons of money too. Like, you know, so everybody can find their audience now.
Yeah. I think it all boils down to asking yourself, am I moving forward?
Yeah.
And it's like, whatever your lane is, if you can honestly answer that, and if the question is, yeah, I am moving forward, keep going. Yep. Whatever you're doing.
Yeah. I think I do. I get too ADD sometimes. Like, I feel like I'm moving forward in like 5 different directions right now.
I know what that spells.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to do that for you. Jamie was here. I didn't want to. But like, I feel like I'm going in like I'm doing this. I'm doing some like corporate stuff, like training, speaking, and stuff like. And it's like, because there's money there for that. And again, that's clean. It's corporate stuff, and all. But like, it's like I should probably like. Part of me just wants to focus, be like, I just want to do stand-up comedy. You know what I mean? I just do this, or like just do this thing. And it's like, I feel like I'm just so ADD that I'm doing like 5 different things, so then I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, but I mean, you're doing the right. Well, I mean, in my mind, like I just want freedom. Yeah, I want my family to have everything they need, and I want the freedom to just do what I want to do. Like, we met for lunch a couple weeks ago on a fucking Tuesday afternoon. It's like, out of all the years that I wasn't able to do that, that kind of shit like means a lot to me, because there were so many times where I'd have to go into my boss's office and beg another man for fucking 30 minutes to do something outside of the building where I was paid to work in, and you were at the mercy of him saying yes. Fuck off, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Even like, I remember like just teaching, and you were in the education for years now. It's like, it's so regimented of like, your lunch is from 11:38 to 12:08, you know? And it's like, I remember that first week working, like we had like an hour. We didn't even have a lunch. Like there was no like scheduled lunch. It was like, yeah, just go out to lunch. So the writers went out to lunch, and then like there was a mall between, it was walkable, but there was a mall between our office and where a bunch of the food was. And like, we just walked around the mall for like 45 minutes. I'm like, guys, we got to get back. Mm-hmm. And like, nobody gave a shit. And it's like, that's the thing. And like, I remember I had a girlfriend in high school whose dad had a job like that, where like he could just come and go. And I was like, that's what I want. Like he could just, there was no set schedule and he just did his thing and it was the best.
And that's what I value more than anything. I think starting out, what I valued was being accepted, being acknowledged, and it's just a psychotic, endless loop that you'll never get caught up on.
You got to make yourself happy. Like nobody else is looking out for you. I think that's the thing too, especially anymore. Like people talk about like, oh, like young people don't work hard anymore or whatever. I think there's something to be said for that, but it's also like they don't get the respect of like a corporate, like whatever. It used to be you work for a place for 30 years, they give you benefits, you get a retirement, you get the gold watch or whatever. And now it's like people just cut you loose. So it's like, why would I grovel to somebody that's just going to cut me loose whenever they feel like it? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I want to do what makes me happy. Yeah.
And that is insert myself into my fleshlight anytime I want.
Exactly.
I have a 2-person fleshlight down here. So
Patreon?
Yes, that's what we're going to.
Yeah.
But Chip, before we head to Patreon, I want to ask you, what is something that you're grateful for right now?
My wife and I bought our first house.
A very cool house.
It's a great house. It's like 1960s, like super, like mid-century, whatever. Like, and it's like legit. It's not like somebody tried to make it look like that. This old Italian dude made it in 65, and it's been like that since.
Is your 60s house close by, or is it far out?
You're so groovy, Michael. So I just like, it's one of those things where it's like, I want to be out there more and doing stuff and like, even just like with friends and stuff like that, which is great. But it's like, I just really appreciate, I'm grateful for like having our house and like my wife and my dog. You know what I mean? Like you talk about your family. Like I don't have kids or anything, but it's like, we got my wife, my dog, and our 2 cats, whatever. But it's like just hanging out with her in the house with the dog is like, that's what I'm very grateful for.
Oh, I get it, brother.
Yeah. Also, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Love me some Dr. Pepper every once in a while.
You're a pepper man?
I'm a pepper. You're a pepper, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that your guiltiest pleasure?
Yeah. It's like, in all honesty, like sweets are my. Do you know what my worst thing is? Like living in the city, like living in South Philly, there is a corner store, like half a block from us, that has just all of the candy and all of the sweets, and it's like I can just walk there all the time, and that's the thing I have to like tell myself, like, you're not going to the corner store today. Like I have to cut myself. It's awful. I'm like, it's like, I used to look at people and like people have been through a lot, like drugs and alcohol. And like, I've had my fun, but it's like, I've luckily never been addicted to any of that stuff really. And, I went through my moments, but, like sometimes I look at these, like I'm judgmental. You see like these people, like I'll go to like Broad and Snyder, like right where I'm like, these people are like all fucked up and like, just get your act together. It's like, I try not to think about that, but like, I'll say that.
Yeah.
And then I realize I can't go a day without telling myself, you're not allowed to go get Twinkies. You're not allowed to do it. And I just yell at myself, and then I lie to myself and I go get the Twinkies. And it's like, it's fucking Twinkies. It's not H. You know what I mean? Could you imagine? And like, it's like, I'm weak. I'm a weak man.
No, I believe you're stronger than you could imagine, Chip.
Oh, thanks, Mike. So are you.
Thank you. What do you want to promote before we head to Patreon?
I got a podcast called The Sunburn Podcast. Me and my former boss, Thomas, from that show that McKeever and I worked on, we talk about, it's like comedy and tropical vacation. He's like obsessed with tropical vacations. He's getting me into it. This Thanksgiving, the night before, I don't know if I told you this, the night before Thanksgiving, I'm doing 2 shows at the Blue Note Jazz Club in Waikiki.
Oh, very cool.
And so it's like the podcast, we're going to keep doing it after that, but like it's sort of the lead up to like, we're going to Hawaii and like we're talking about that. And it's just like, island we just like want to have like fun and again it's kind of about like making our own lives and like sort of like vacation mindset all the time, so it's comedy podcast, whatever. And then I got my special Move Closer on YouTube. Make sure you check that out. Move Closer on YouTube, and just at Chip Chantry on all of the things. And watch Little Stinkers and Dad Meat.
Thank you.
And Getting Some Head.
Thank you, brother.
This is a great name for a podcast, by the way.
Thanks.
It's the best name for a podcast.
Well, I like getting in some head, man.
Yeah, you do.
And I loved getting inside your head, and I want to get inside your head some more.
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to head over to Patreon. If you're not a patron yet, please consider supporting the show. It's the easiest, most direct way to do so. And you can do that by going to patreon.com/getinsomehead. That's GETINSOMEHEAD. Patreon.com/getinsomehead. We'll be back with even more Chip Chantry.
You're a great speller, Mike.
Thank you. That's what I knew. When you said ADD, it's like...
You had it right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I love you, and I'll see you over there.
Okay.
I'll see you on the other episode.
All right. We'll see you over there.
All right.